Good afternoon, everyone. Well, good morning to some of you. Welcome to today's webinar. I'm Barbara Scafidio, editor of Prevue, and I will be your moderator for the next hour. I'm thrilled to welcome our three very special and knowledgeable guests. Paget Kirkland, President Kirkland Event and Destination Services, Steffi Cordy, owner Cocoon Incentives, and Leanne Kramer, Senior Design and Development Manager for 360 Destination Group. I'm going to let them introduce themselves and their companies in just a bit, but wanted to mention a couple of things. So you know, today's session will be recorded and you'll receive a link via email at the end of the session. So don't worry if you miss something. Check out the handout section on our console for some great info, including a white paper that Prevue is hot off the presses from Prevue. As with all of our webinars, you will receive CEUs for your participation. And please do ask questions throughout the event. Our aim is to hold a Q&A at the end of the session. We do have a lot of information we're going to get through in a very short amount of time on everything from activities to venues to gifting, but we'd like to squeeze in a few of your questions at the end. I would like to thank today's sponsors. We have Florida Sports Coast in the house, the Guitar Hotel at Seminole Hard Rock Hotel and Casino, Hilton Sandestin Beach Golf Resort and Spa, Lake Nona Wave Hotel, Margarita Beach Resort Hollywood Beach, Naples Marco Everglades CVB, the Palm Beaches, Ponte Vedra Inn and Club, Visit Orlando, and last but not least, Visit South Walton. I am going to turn it over to Paget for a quick introduction, and after you meet everyone, we will get started with our program. So welcome, Paget.
Thank you, Barbara, and good afternoon, everybody. Paget Kirkland with Kirkland Events. I've been down in South Florida for, since '97 now, so great to see you all here today.
Thank you, and we'll move over to Steffi.
Hi, good morning. My name is Steffi Cordy. I'm the owner and director of Cocoon Incentives. We are a DMC and an incentive house based in sunny Miami. I worked in the hospitality industry for over 25 years and as such traveled and lived on all continents except for Antarctica, written some books on travel and culture, and worked for a large tour operator before I heading to the DMC side. I started my Cocoon Incentives in 2011, and we, with a focus on very creative events. As such, we like to think outside the cocoon. That's a little bit our tag. We provide full destination management services in Florida, and we always try to add a dose of sustainability to all of our events. All right, so we like to think outside the cocoon and truly customize every event. And during this webinar, I hope the three of us will give you some deep insights of what we can do here in Florida.
I am sure you will. And on to Leanne.
Hi, everybody. Leanne Kramer with 360 Destination Group. I am a Senior Design and Development Manager with 360. I've been with the company 6 years, and prior to that, I worked in hotel sales, and then prior to that, I was with another DMC. So lots of DMC experience. 360 has offices all over the state of Florida, so we do events all over Florida, but we also have a national presence. We have offices in Chicago, Texas, New York, California, Las Vegas, the list goes on. But today we're focusing on Florida, so we're excited to chat about these awesome destinations and things that we can do for groups.
And it's just so much. So why don't we start with activities? Our goal is to share with you not your everyday activities that you've heard of. We really thrown in some great gems, some newer items and newer venues in the hopes that you walk away with, it's kind of scratching your head saying, wow, I didn't realize all of these things were there. So why don't we kick off with you, Steffi, sharing a couple of activities that you recommend for groups.
Yes, excellent. Thank you. Yes, we certainly don't want to bore you. We really want to give you some insights that you cannot find on the internet, or that we as a DMC can really furnish to you, so that you do truly work with specialists when you have your events in Florida. As far as activities go, so as you know, Florida is surrounded by water. We have the Gulf on one side, we have the Atlantic on the other side, and we have plenty of water in the mainland. We have rivers, springs, and of course swamps. So I'm going to start with a swamp activity. Basically, Florida's Grand Canyon is the Everglades. They may not be as jaw-dropping at first sight, but they are truly they're a big national park, and not for no reasons. So to visit the Everglades is definitely something that your groups should do. There's various ways to do it. One very cool way is by swamp mobile. So imagine kind of like a monster truck, ginormous wheels, getting you through the Everglades. You have a great perspective from there. And or you do it as part of a airboat. And an airboat basically glides over the sea of grass. It has a propeller at the end, and so it basically flies over the Everglades. You have a gladesman going with you, and the gladesman kind of spots for you the alligators and the snakes and the birds that we have in the Everglades. It's a truly really wonderful and unique experience you can do while you're in Florida. Another really cool event is, and I think we have a slide for that, is sea bobbing. And with a raise of hands, even though we can't really see your hands here at this panel, but I wonder who has heard of this. This is really the newest little high-end luxury water toy that we can offer. You cannot find it on the internet to do. It is basically a high-end mix of a high-end scooter and that could kind of appear in a James Bond movie. You don't necessarily have to have the scuba diving tanks there on your back, but you hold on to this device and you glide through the water like a dolphin. It's insanely cool for any incentive group that wants to do something that nobody has done before. This is one of the activities. It's great if you join it if you combine it, for instance, with jetpacking, which that you have definitely seen in a James Bond movie. That's where he kind of expels himself, I should say, on top of the water. This can be done as a team building event. We can set up a parkour, or the people can just try this out along the coastlines. And then a third really cool water-based event. And again, these events are not, your ordinary. Of course, we can do catamaran sailing and paddleboarding and all those things, anything that you can do on water. But again, our intent is here to provide you with information that maybe you haven't heard of. The third one is, and there's another slide for that, and that would be shark tagging. So here, what you do is you take the role of a citizen scientist, and we collaborate with the university. And for one day, you turn into a scientist. You go out with them on the water. We catch and release sharks, but not just for the fun of it, but for science. So what you do is, and you can see it in the picture there, we measure it. We take samples of the blood, of the skin, of the fin, and most importantly, we tag that shark. This is a relatively small shark. Of course, they come in all sizes. Some of them are almost as large as a boat. So it takes the whole crew to calm it down and to do the scientific operation that we intend to do. And anyhow, so you tag it, you send it back into the water, and as the scientists go out again and catch this shark again, you will, they can see how it grew and where it went to, and so on and so forth. This is a really highly, it's a very meaningful activity that you can do. It is great for smaller groups, maybe 25 per boat. We could maximum do 2 boats. So this is really a very, an event for your very best performers, I would say. Anyhow, so those are 3 very cool water activities that we can offer. And I'm gonna pass on to Paget. I think she had some other cool ideas for us here.
Yep, thanks, Steffi. I have 3 great ones in Palm Beach County that we've done actually a lot of lately, and it's some fun new things too. One is the Loggerhead Marine Turtle Hospital has just completed a multi-million-dollar renovation. So that's kind of a cool thing, new venue for us as well. But on the activity side, we can also do this as a CSR activity. We've done beach cleanups there. You can have some very VIP behind the scenes where you actually are going into the turtle hospital and they're rehabbing these turtles. You can see them as they're applying things, boat propellers and things that have hurt these turtles, and they rehab them, and then they do releases, which have been part of some of our events before from the beach, which is a great thing to have done. And they also have brought it to some of the hotels along the coast as well. They can do beach cleanups at certain hotels along the coast of Southeast Florida. So a neat thing to be able to do there with the loggerheads, the turtles. Something else we do is Worth Avenue. Everybody knows that that's our rodeo drive of Palm Beach. And not only is it there for shopping though, and we can customize some really great activities there. We work with a local famous artist, very good friends with Dale Chihuly, this artist is, and he has taken us into some art studios, behind the art studios, shown some priceless art before, so we can make it an art walk. We've done an architectural walk there as well before, looking at the behind the scenes of the architecture along Worth Avenue. And we've also done some high-end things with Tiffany, Chanel, to name a couple, with those fashion for both jewelry and clothing along Worth Avenue. So done some great high-end fashion shows actually on Worth Avenue. So some great things that you can do there. And then obviously to Steffi's point about using the water in Florida, we do a lot of the yacht tours. We've done breakfast, lunch, dinners on board yachts. And the great thing about our waterway in Florida is it's so narrow, so you really do get an up-close, personal, front seat view of some great mansions in Palm Beach. And our newest neighbor is Sylvester Stallone, who just moved to Palm Beach. So we go right by his house too, and people yell out, "Yo, Adrian," on there, which some of the older crew will get with me. But so just some great fun things in Palm Beach County. Leanne?
Yeah, so one of the hottest districts right now is in Miami, Florida at Wynwood Design District. It's a newer district. There's lots of breweries and things to do, but what we've been doing lately is having an immersive experience where you actually get to meet a graffiti artist and paint the walls at Wynwood. And you can do like a food tour in conjunction with this experience, as well as there's Segway tours, bike tours. There was a brewery bike tour. Right now it's on hold for a little bit, but it's just such a cool district, and to be able to be part of that wall and leave something behind has been really, really popular with our incentive groups lately.
Can I ask a question about that?
Sure.
So they permanently stay up?
Well, there's an area, it's an alleyway behind the Wynwood walls. And so what we do is we have our artist, our graffiti artist, and he takes the group over to this alleyway and they paint their designs and they learn a little bit about graffiti and the actual art, and then they get to do it and it stays up for however long until the next group comes in, they kind of paint over it. But we've also done it with canvases too, in case they want to take home a piece of their art. And it's just very, very fun, and everybody seems to love it. Any age group, if you're not like a water person and you don't want to go out and do something too strenuous, it's just a group activity that everybody seems to really enjoy.
I'm seeing a lot of interest in art. It seems that art has become for everyone, and it's become much more accessible. People are not intimidated by trying out, seeing how they do. Just a wonderful addition, as is including local artists in
Mhm.
program.
And I
So
think including the food and beverage too, the breweries, it's just so much fun. And in Orlando, we have a similar area. It's not quite Wynwood, but we do a cool biking tour that ends at a brewery stop called the Crooked Can. So that's new, something that we're incorporating into that market as well. And we can absolutely kind of have your own little art event at the end. It doesn't have to necessarily be graffiti, but you could even do something like paint the scenery of downtown Winter Garden. So there's lots to do to incorporate art these days.
Great. And I want to encourage people, if as our speakers are talking, you've done something or know some little hidden secret you want to, we'll do our best to try to incorporate that, or at least give it a shout out. I did want to say something to Paget. When you were speaking, the piece behind me is actually from a Dale Chihuly exhibit. It's called Ikebana. So
Very
wow,
cool.
we'll have to talk afterwards. But I want to move on to an entirely different topic, but obviously when we're doing a multi-day program, especially an incentive program, we're always looking for interesting venues. There are so many choices. It's very hard to even, sometimes make a decision, but our panel has a few special ones that they want to share. So why don't we start with you, Leanne?
Awesome. So the first one that we're going to talk about, the next slide, is Inyala, and that is taking us over to the west coast of Florida, Naples, Marco Island area. And Inyala is a hidden gem that you would never know as just a normal person coming to the city that exists. It is a private reserve that they have a beautiful existing tent set up, and you can do events. They bring in animal encounters, so you can have a rhino, a giraffe, they have monkeys, all kinds of stuff. You really feel like you're part of Africa in Southwest Florida. It's very, very luxurious. It's one of the only offsite event venues in Southwest Florida that can host a larger group. So Inyala is the first one I wanted to talk about. And if you haven't seen it, it's really amazing. The second one I wanted to talk about is another hidden gem, but it's in Orlando, Florida. It's not quite that slide yet. We'll get to that one. But it is called Paradise Cove. And Paradise Cove is just off of I-4 near the Marriott World Center and the Premium Outlet. You would never know that it's there, but it's a hidden little oasis. It has a beautiful outdoor event space. It has a covered pavilion that they just renovated. You can do fire pits, Adirondack chairs. You can incorporate daytime activities like boating, kayaking, that kind of thing. So we do events there day and night, but they're very, very great to work with. And it's a beautiful spot when you want that beach event, but you're in the middle of the state in Orlando, you can create it at Paradise Cove. The last two I wanted to talk about before I flip it over is Isleworth and Lake Nona Country Club. These two are very, very exclusive, almost membership-only golf courses that you wouldn't get to experience on your own, but they do evening events, and we have relationships with them. And what we like to do is bring in like a guest golfer or a PGA expert that can talk about the game. It's great for lots of groups of men, but honestly, any group, because they're both so pristine, and when you drive through the main gates, you feel like you're a celebrity driving past all of the large homes, and then getting to their country club and having an event there is truly, truly special. So those are some three really hot ones in encompassing the entire state.
Interesting. Prevue is very excited to be doing our Meet Well conference at the Lake Nona Hotel in August. So I'll get to see that then. I wanted to back up just a sec before we move into additional venues. Steffi, you have a friend on the call, Mara Zhang, and she said, he had a great recommendation. She said the swamp tours are very unique, but they also do guided swamp walks, which she's been wanting to try. And again, you're tailoring your opportunities to your group. So, if you have a more of an active group, or, not a group that's not going to mind a little hard work there, that sounds absolutely perfect. And other groups are going to want VIP in style and comfort. So that's an important part of obviously how we choose. But keep the ideas coming, audience, because we want to make this as interactive as possible. And okay, back to you guys.
Yeah, love it, Mara. Thank you. Yes, the swamp trompe is definitely something you can, for the very adventurous groups, because you put on some high boots, like rubber boots, and you hike literally through the Everglades. Anyhow, yeah, thank you for that. And Lake Nona, you had mentioned that is really the newest gem we have here in Florida. It is for your tech groups. It is for your medical groups. It is the future. So we built, it's a master plan kind of community. And anyhow, I don't want to get too deep into that, but check it out or ask us about it. It is a really, really cool, master planned city. It's growing right now, and that's where you find robots, AI, live tech. It's really, really cool. Okay, back to the venues. So the picture that you see here is actually a parking garage. I know you would have never thought that, and I told you that we like to think outside the cocoon. So definitely we can use, we can find you some venues that are off the beaten path, that are maybe something you wouldn't even think about as that would actually make a great venue. Obviously, you got the museums and you got some great event spaces, maybe also there in Wynwood, but we have garages that are designed by star architects, just like this one here. It's by Herzog and Meurs. And then there's a couple other ones in our design district that are just like, Instagram super perfect. Like the whole park deck is painted in pink. The outside facade is made with metal covered cars. So, how great is that if you have a car lounge, for instance? Or this one that you see in the picture there, the 1111 garage, is, really it's a blank canvas. You put any lights you want on it. You don't need much decor, and you can have it for your product lounge. You can have it for a fashion show. It's a really great space. And remember, we pretty much always have good weather. So to have a parking garage where we maybe have a little bit of a roof over your head, and that's it. You have a nice little breeze. You're above the street level, so you have the city lights. It's really, really cool to do. Another really nice venue that again you cannot find on the internet would be mansions. So we certainly don't have a shortage of opulent villas here in Florida. All along the coast, from the Fort Walton area down to Miami and the Keys and West Palm Beach, of course, Naples, there are mansions to hire. Not easy. They come with restrictions, but again, that's why you have us to find you the mansions that fit your group size and so on and so forth. You add an impersonator to this, like some celebrity that shows up, and the party is perfect. So those are other great venues that we can help you with. And yeah.
Were you going to mention Stiltsville?
Stiltsville, I can mention Stiltsville, although right now it is a little limited because, but we can still nevertheless make it a great event space. So Stiltsville is a structure in the middle of the ocean that you can reach easily, like from the Miami area by boat. And it is a structure that was built back in the 1920s during the Prohibition era when, alcohol obviously was off limit, but you could take your boat out there and voila, you could drink legally. So that's how it started. So it's obviously about 100 years old. The structure has seen a hurricane or two. So that's currently, we cannot take anybody on the actual structure. Nevertheless, we can take a couple yachts out there and have Stiltsville as your background, which is super cool. Again, it's a very unique place. There's no other one like it in this world.
Okay. Getting a lot of comments. Leonora really likes the idea from the parking garage. There are some specific questions about group sizes. I think the best thing for us to do is, if you have a question like that, I will be passing it along to the panelists, and they can reach out to you directly, so we don't take up the time during the webinar on that. But please continue to send me your ideas. And we're going to segue into another important aspect of an event, which is always a fun one to plan, and that's entertainment. So Steffi, you want to take it from there about salsa dancing?
Sure, absolutely. You should have some music. Yes, a very fun souvenir that stays with everybody and doesn't take any space in your suitcase is a salsa performance and a lesson. So thank you for the picture. So you can bring them to your party, no matter where, in the mansion, in the garage, at your hotel. And you, what we like to do is we have, some professional dancers show us how it really looks like, and then have more that shows you, or the participants rather, how to do the few steps. It's pretty simple. And the nice thing about it is no matter where you go in the world after this, once you hear salsa, it's kind of like the blues or, some other tunes, you'll recognize it right away. And you will always remember the good times you had there.
Picture from a Prevue event.
I was just going to say, Barbara, that and the cigar roller, we'll talk about it from your Prevue summit that you had done.
Like I said, I have a lot of fun planning the Prevue events, which is another part of my role. And that was actually on one of the rooftop venues at Nobu in Miami. But just kicked off the event, got everybody in the mood. Once they had a cocktail in their hand, these guys came out, and it was a huge hit. So back to the show.
They do, and I know something that goes along with that is the cigar rollers. Cigar rolling is a very big thing wherever you are in Florida. We can logo those cigar rollers. They're authentic Cuban cigars. They're rolled right there on site. They cut the leaves there on site. They'll cut the cigars, or smoking's allowed on property. But I know we've got a lot of incentive groups that the golfers will grab them, take them out for their golfing the next day. So it's really a fun addition. And again, logoing them is a great addition to do to those as well.
It's amazing how many people actually take them, even if they're not a smoker. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I think everybody knows someone who would just love them. So even if you're not, and even if you can't do the rolling, this was actually another Prevue event, and this was in our registration area. So we also had to the left of them an espresso bar, and it just kind of was a wonderful way of introducing people to come on in, relax, and have some coffee and choose your cigars.
And there are men's and women's cigars these days, so we bring both.
And maybe to add one more to this, you can totally personalize this. So after, you hand out the cigars, you can have the little, I think it's called the banderole, right? The little piece of paper. You can put your company name on it, or, your message it's a very personalized gift for people also to take along.
Terrific. So why don't we move on to Leanne?
Yeah. So when you're in Florida in different areas, why not pull from local talent? So if you're in Orlando, we have so much local talent from the theme parks, Disney, Universal, but also think about your sports teams. Have an appearance from the Orlando Magic. If you're in South Florida, maybe from the Miami Dolphins or the Miami Heat. Up in Amelia or in Fernandina or Ponte Vedra, you could do something from the Jacksonville Jaguars. So check with your planners and find out what local talent is actually available in the area, and then you might not have to pay for their rider to fly in because they're local, but then they have that wow factor because they're local celebrities.
Unquestionably. And the price of the LA Rams just went way up, didn't it?
Who would have thought?
Hey, we have Tom Brady here that lives in
That's
Tampa.
true. That's true. And he's retired now, so maybe he'll be a little cheaper.
A lot of speculation. Not really going to be retired, so we'll see
Right.
all that. But okay, so another important we touched on it with the cigars, obviously, but you know, certainly for incentive programs, the gifting has just gotten so much more sophisticated, and there are so many new entrants to that market. But we're going to focus a bit on more of the locally inspired ideas, and feel free, you guys, to share as many of those as you want as you go along, starting with Paget.
So Barbara, exactly. Local has been such a huge thing lately, and we have really challenged our local community to come up with things, and everybody has really jumped at the chance to do this. We work with a local bee company in Palm Beach, and they produce honey here. We actually have used this now as part of an activity at a welcome reception. They're great little gifts of jars of the honey. And it's fun. I just pulled up the different flavors, but we're also incorporating these gifts into, so it kind of goes through the theme of the program, but there's chipotle honey, jalapeno honey, ginger turmeric, lime, and we've made that into, the hoteliers can now do it into craft cocktails, or even we're working with one of the chefs to put it into the food for that evening, and then that's their gift when they go back to their room that night. So it's a very cool new thing that we've been doing. We also have a local bakery that we work with, and it's part of our Palm Beach food tour here. And this baker has come up with a really great key lime thing. It's a very simple but wonderful room gift, and it's a little taste of Palm Beach when you get here into your rooms. Another favorite of mine is a Palm Beach sandal. Mrs. Kennedy used to wear a sandal that looks just like this. We have now been able to brand these. You can put your logo on these, but the nice thing about it is you can just do a pop-up shop, and we bring these to your events. You can pick all sorts of colors, from pinks to golds to whatever color you can imagine, all the Palm Beach beautiful colors. But this has been a very popular thing. And if they don't have their size, you're local, so we'll have it delivered to the hotel within the hour. So another great option. And finally, we work with a local artist that I had talked about. We've also done some great local gifts. He does a collage class. You can personalize it, you can logo it, you can put little things from wherever you are, Miami, Fort Lauderdale, Palm Beach, and make that part of the collage and really personalize it. We frame that and shipped it to people too. So, Stephanie?
The sandals are actually, the sandal experiences I've done and had were just ordered on site. I think there is something really special about getting the sandals on site.
Mm-hmm.
So in this case, that's usually possible.
Yep. Yep. And there are men's sandals too that we can do with these too.
They're really, really nice looking too. And obviously, I bet everybody wears them, you know,
They do.
through the program. Did we wanted to move on? Steffi had some ideas as well.
Yeah, I mean, to jump on this, I think personalization and local product is really, the what we do these days. Anyhow, so anything that we can personalize, of course, is absolutely fantastic. A couple other gifts that pretty much all of our groups, whether it's incentives or meetings or anything, like to use is sun lotion, just simply because you need it. You need sandals, you need sunglasses, and you need some sun lotion when you come to Florida. And the sun lotion that we offer is reef safe. So there's a couple of local providers who took out some of the chemicals that are known to, hurt the reef, and also ourselves, really. But anyhow, so we can provide you that the reef-friendly sun lotion, and then something you see here in the picture now, the salt scrub. So this is another product that is locally sourced. They take the salt out of the water. They add some local fragrances such as coconut or key lime into it, and then you rub your hands. It makes them super soft, and they're also very they're natural disinfectants. That's what I'm trying to say. Again, those are handmade here by a local woman-owned organization, and so those are a couple smaller gifts that can easily be incorporated, hopefully, into any budget.
Right, and small is good because people have to bring them back. If the audience wants to share a few of your favorite Florida inspired gifts, I can read them out to people. I have Karen here who said local spirits, of course, and local food. And now there are so many distilleries now, local, now I can't speak to Florida, so maybe you guys could share, but
Well,
wine.
we've just been doing, like Paget said, a lot of the pop-up shops. So it's like almost a gifting experience. So if you're in Miami and you want to pick your gift, you can have the Guanabana shirt, the Havana hat, the sunglasses, the flip-flops, and they actually can give their size right then and there and take it with them or have it shipped back, kind of like Blue Jean Bar was very popular for a while in other destinations. It's your Florida-inspired Blue Jean Bar. And then up in like northern Florida, we're doing more of like the Vineyard Vines look, maybe Peter Millar, that kind of stuff. So the gifting pop-up shop is very, very trending right now. And there are some great companies out there that do it very, very well that we partner with.
Yeah, it's an area of our industry that's gotten incredibly sophisticated, and it's almost, an entire experience in itself around the gifting that people look forward to every year. Why don't we move to everyone's favorite topic, though, which is food? And we could spend an entire probably webinar on the creative and amazing options that come out of come from Florida because of the weather and the climate and the sunshine and the ocean being right there. But I'm gonna let you guys take it, starting with Steffi.
Sure. I mean, what does the audience think when they think Florida and food and fruit? So I think oranges have to be, top of your mind because we have orange juice comes. And as you go through Central Florida, you go, over acres and acres of orange plantations. And there are some really cool places where you can actually go see how this orange tree grows, what it takes for your orange juice, to appear on your breakfast table, not just in Florida, but even up in Chicago and wherever you are. So that I think is very interesting and sometimes a little overlooked because we take it as granted. Another fruit and vegetables that are grown here. So the southern tip of Florida is very agricultural. It's called, in fact, the Redlands. Redlands because the soil is so red and very fertile. Combine that with our great climate, you have year-round fruit and vegetables that grow here, and some of them you don't find anywhere else in the country, such as mangoes, lychees, some really exotical things that otherwise you would have to import from other countries. So to go into the Redlands is really less than an hour out of Miami. You could get it out. It's also just an hour away from Naples, for instance, and of course from the Keys, just because it's like at the bottom of the state. So very easily accessible. Unfortunately, so overlooked, but we can take you out there and immerse you into the local food experience. There is a winery, for instance, that produces these tropical fruits into wine. So you can have a papaya wine, you can have a mango wine. There's a brewery, a craft brewery that, has anybody ever tasted banana beer? Yes, you can have it there. You can have, lychee beer, avocado beer. I mean, you name it, you're in for a new sensory experience. So yeah, and if you don't make the trip out there, the local chefs usually do. So there's a lot of farm to table. And I think before the concept became very trendy, Florida already had this. And again, we're lucky that we have year-round food and vegetables that grow here. So our chefs from local hotels and restaurants often source in the Redlands and or in Central Florida to get, to get the very, very fresh produce. Maybe one other thing that I can throw in there is talking about, local beverages. Orange juice we covered, and so the orange tree is obviously our state tree. But in South Florida, you might even think it's the palm tree that would be our state tree, and we have plenty of coconuts here. What I like to provide our guests as they arrive is a personalized young coconut. So it's the green one, not the brown one that most people associate with coconut. It's a nice green one. You can put a logo of your company on there, and pass that on as a very refreshing welcome drink.
Love that.
Okay. Leanne, did you have some?
Yes, I do. So I don't know how many people have actually tried ceviche, but it is very, very amazing. It's from Peru. It's Peruvian, but also incorporated into other cultures as well. So what we do is a ceviche mixology class with a mojito. So it can be something that you incorporate as a culinary tour, or you can just incorporate it into your menu. So the ceviche is actually cooked by the citrus acid, and all different types of fish and fruits and vegetables can be put in with it. Each chef has a different way of doing it. One of our favorite celebrity chefs in Miami that does this very, very well is Chef Douglas Rodriguez. So he'll come in as a celebrity chef, do the ceviche making class along with the mojito muddling. And it's just a very fun, interactive South Florida Cuban experience. Oh, I forgot to mention another thing that we've been doing a lot all over the state of Florida, whether you're in Orlando or if you're in Amelia, Marco, South Florida, you can take boats out and do deep sea fishing. And on the boat, you'll catch your fish. And why not have the chef there to basically scale the fish, bring them back, and then you can cook it. So you can either do the ceviche, where it's similar to the cooking class on land on your boat, or you can take it back to your hotel and do a cook your own catch event at your hotel too.
That sounds
Yeah,
exciting.
it's called Dock to Dish, and it's the equivalent to farm to table. And it's really, listen out to that term. It will pop up, nationwide, but it's definitely already in the making here. Dock to Dish. Mm-hmm.
To dish. Okay. It sounds. When can we go?
Right now.
So we have a little time left here. So I want to encourage people to start asking, asking questions of these really knowledgeable partners who you could very well end up working with, we hope. Okay, and I've got a question here from Pat. Oh, this is much more of a, kind of a really great timely question. Are you seeing budgets are the same for these kinds of activities post-COVID? That's interesting. Who wants to take that? So have you seen a shift in spending? Have you seen a shift in your clients' budgets?
I think travel is back in Florida. We're excited. It's busy. We're busy. Budget's great question. I think people are getting creative. I think, yes, we're seeing some people staying on property a little bit more, but then they do have money in their budgets to do some fun things on property, like this new bee thing that we're doing. She's like, let's do something fun and creative and different, and we're incorporating that kind of throughout. So budgets and travel in Florida have been back and okay. I don't know, Steffi, Leanne, if you've got something.
Yeah, well, we're seeing, with inflation, really everything is more expensive. And so the planners are having to kind of make up for that. But there's also just limited inventory. So we're really encouraging our planners to plan further in advance if possible. A lot of them want to wait longer to see what happens, see if another variant's going to come. But like Paget said, Florida's been open. And so a lot of even the meetings that were planned for places like overseas, we had a client that was supposed to go to Milan, another one that was supposed to go to Athens. They ended up rebooking for Miami, their incentive trip. And it was a lot more affordable because it was stateside versus overseas. So we had more money to play with and really blow it out of the water. So it just depends. But I think right now we're going to have to get creative with the budgets because of inflation and because of the limited inventory.
Right. It is really back. It's compression. It's just demand is high.
Yeah, I think we just all have to be very flexible, whether it's the budget, whether it's availability of, space, hotel, or items. So I think that's the message we have to relay to all of our corporate end planners, is that at some point we all have to be a little bit flexible, give a little bit here, take a little bit there. But generally, yes, I think Florida can give you a lot for your money's worth. Some things money can't buy.
Right.
Sunshine.
And the whole idea of an incentive program is really doing, creating an experience that you can't buy, So, but it's interesting because this next question is exactly the opposite. This is from Jean. Do you offer individual menus of activities for groups in an afternoon versus just a single group activity? I mean, that's really on the planner of the event themselves. Are you seeing more of an interest in a variety of choice versus a group activity? I see Leanne's like nodding her head. Do you
Yeah,
have
almost all of our groups give their attendees at least 5 or 6 to choose from. And depending on the size of the group, what we do is we analyze, the interest. We say, are you going to send out a pre-survey to get people to say what they most like, and then if they fill up, they'll have a second option, things like that. But rarely do we send everybody out on one excursion together, because we know that groups can be interested in all different types of things. So we may do, like Steffi said, all of those different water activities in addition to the golf, the spa, the hotel, kayak tour, Everglades tour, and then they get to pick and choose based on their interests. And if it's a multi-day program, they might get to experience multiple different tours throughout the week.
Yes, I think personalization is what is the word? Personalization is key. And so to have optional activities, it's definitely a trend that's been coming for a while now. So absolutely, I think, it only makes sense. Not everybody's into golfing or water activity or something. So they're supposed to have the time of their life. So give them, and we have plenty of options here. We're definitely no limit.
I have a question just as a planner who is bringing a group to Florida, a couple of groups to Florida this year. I'm very much looking for outdoor spaces. We're really not doing any of our meal functions other than during, the breakfast and lunch. All of the evening spaces are outdoor at this point. Are you seeing that too? Is that still very much what?
Absolutely. We're doing a lot of yachts, a lot of mansions. I'm seeing a lot of outdoor options, yes, and activities as well. Everybody wants to go outside, so yes.
I think that could be I don't want to say lifelong, but it started with COVID. But I think that now that's just becoming the norm, that people are expecting after a day of being inside. They're looking for those special spots, and the venues, even at the hotels, the outdoor venues have gotten a lot more sophisticated. They've added a lot of features to them, even on the properties. So I think that's pretty interesting. Most of the remaining questions are for you ladies, having to do with shipping and capacities and such. So I'm going to pass them along to you, and we're going to wrap this up. But I wanted to thank you so much for your time. If there's anything you wanted to add, jump in now.
It's been great.
Thank you so much for your time. Thank you to the audience, and thank you very much to our very special sponsors. So have a great rest of the afternoon, and we'll see you in Florida very soon.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye.